Stick around if you want to find out the secret to unlimited energy. And no, it's not coffee. So this is going to be especially useful if you struggle with lack of energy, if you feel drained all the time, if you feel like you can't get out of bed, etc. And this is especially related to people with ADHD because your mind is constantly distracted, you're constantly thinking. It's like you're on overdrive even when you're not moving, which can lead to exhaustion, which can lead to many issues. So here, this secret is actually related to the mind and the heart. It's not related to external substance like caffeine or tobacco or any other stimulant. It's none of that. Have you noticed that this will give you a good example of how spiritual energy works before I define it? Have you ever been super tired, right? You don't even want to get out of bed, for example, but then your friend calls you and you have an amazing conversation. Suddenly you're up and you have energy. Or imagine this, imagine you're exhausted, right? And suddenly someone calls you and says, hey, you get £1 million. Suddenly you'll have energy, right? So here I'm not talking about the lack of energy because of lack of sleep or you've been working all day. Obviously you're going to be a little tired, right? That's, I guess, normal. But here I'm talking about when technically you shouldn't be so depleted. It could be our lifestyle, it could be the foods we eat, etc. But this secret, even if you have had a long day, you can still gain energy. Think about it. How did the prophets of God, how did Muhammad ﷺ have so much energy? He stayed up at night praying. During the day he worked. Maybe he took a nap during the afternoon. But other than that, people slept very little. So this whole 8 hours of sleep you need, technically I guess is good for your health. But with spiritual energy, regardless of how much sleep you get, you can still have energy. Now, I've experienced this. I'm not saying don't sleep the recommended amount. Sleep the recommended amount. But at the same time, utilize the time you're awake. Okay. So what is spiritual energy exactly? Spiritual energy comes from the connection you create with God. And I'm not saying you have to be a saint or a wali or anything like that. But the point is, when you are close to God and when you do establish some kind of connection or connectivity, if you like, you do gain a sense of calm. You do gain a sense of rejuvenation and energy. So when you're spiritually aligned, your mental and physical, as well as emotional energy will be boosted. Why? Because it's all in the mind, right? How your body works, how you think. This can all drain your brain if it's not correctly aligned. And a lot of, I guess, depression, anxiety comes from a lack of alignment to the spiritual. Or obviously there are external pressures, physical pressures, problems that could happen. But even after all of this that's happening around you, if you're spiritually aligned, spiritual energy can really push you. Now, if you have ADHD, you're constantly overwhelmed and you always need more energy. That's just a brute fact for people with ADHD. Your mind's on overdrive constantly. You're thinking of a million things at a second. There's rarely focus on one thing unless you're hyper focusing. So basically it's an alignment, inner alignment for inner strength. Okay. So I don't want you to confuse spiritual energy with motivation. Okay. So motivation is the thing motivates us, that pushes us towards doing something. But this is more of a divine, deep connection to the source of all power, the unlimited source. So God is unlimited. So what he can provide for us is unlimited energy. If you think about it. I don't mean you're going to have unlimited energy like a God forbid. I'm not talking about that. For example, God has unlimited resources. So he can provide you an unlimited amount of money or wealth or thing, and he will do. He provides you unlimited resources, unlimited air for now. And also when you go to heaven, it will be truly unlimited. So you can keep going and going and going more than you think you could have. And this can lead you to greatness. Because you can accomplish more in both your dunya and your deen, this world and for the next. So now I want to talk a little about ADHD and how, when you have ADHD, you have bursts of hyperfocus, and that's when you feel like you're super energized. That's kind of how I'm feeling now. I'm super energized. I'm making this video. It's the morning. I was tired, but now on hyperfocus mode, in hyperfocus mode. But the problem is then you lack energy and it's related to dopamine and you become scattered and you're tired. But then again, if you have something that will bring you back to your hyperfocus, suddenly you have energy. So that proves to you that it's something here a lot of the time. Okay, so when you're pulled in multiple directions, you lack energy. But spiritual practices give you a grounding and a balance. This helps you avoid, those crashes. This is not the secret, but we have, your prayer, we have exercise. All these things can give you energy and can help you focus at the same time. But the secret to unlimited spiritual energy, and it's not coffee, is gratitude. Now, what is gratitude and how can you express gratitude? So this is the perspective, and this is what's missing if you have lack of energy. This is what I've come across, this is what I've seen, this is what I've researched. Okay, so gratitude actually feeds your spirit, your spiritual energy. Instead of looking what's wrong and feeling negative, that can make you feel tired and depressed and sad, right? But when you look at what you have, when you look at the blessings that are bestowed upon you, even something as silly as washing the dishes, you could be like, oh, I don't want to wash the dishes. And then you can feel lack of energy because your mental focus is on the negative, the washing. But if you shift your perspective and realize that, oh, wait, I have dishes to wash. Thank God I have dishes. Some people don't have dishes. And when you really focus on gratitude, suddenly you have energy. Like, I want to wash these dishes because God blessed me with these dishes. Because of these dishes, I eat. So for those with ADHD, and not just ADHD actually, anyone, gratitude will push you in terms of energy. And it will pull you out of the mental chaos you have. Take you out of the negativity and helps you train to be in the present. Being in the present means you're not thinking about tomorrow, which can create anxiety, and you're not thinking about the past, which can cause sadness. You're here and you're now. Sometimes we need to think of the future and we need to learn from the past, but the point is not to dwell. We trust in God. We gain our spiritual energy from God, and He pushes us to excellence because we rely on Him. You could do something simple like keeping a gratitude journal, although sometimes it's difficult to maintain or stick to it. But if you're a Muslim, then your 5 daily prayers, if you can do them in congregation, that gives you a better aura, or it gives you more spiritual energy because you're among the angels and your brothers in prayer. In essence, gratitude, it comes in many forms. It could be thinking gratefully, it could be prayer, it could be just when you're sitting down sipping your coffee and you say, oh, thank you God for creating such a blessing. Now, it's hard to be in this state constantly, obviously, but the secret is if you train this, and when you are feeling tired, when you are feeling drained, then go to gratitude and it disappears. It really does disappear. And for those of you with ADHD, it can actually bring you to a hyper-focused state just because it brings your focus. And not only that, it actually releases dopamine, prayer, being close to God, gratitude. It does release dopamine. So that makes you be able to do things that you think you can't, like doing boring stuff. So guys, this secret, if implemented, you will see your energy skyrocket, okay? Well, till next time, guys, thank you very much for listening. And if this was of value, you know what to do. That subscribe stuff and the like stuff. But until next time, take care and Assalamu alaikum.